from heart disease to herpes to hemorrhoids. There's a lot of private medical information that you don't want the world to know. And the good news is there is a law, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, that protects your private medical information from disclosure by doctors, healthcare providers, healthcare facilities, insurance companies, and the like. And that law says that none of those covered entities can disclose it without your permission. That said, you can give permission, which you do all the time. When you go to the doctor's office and you have to sign all those forms, one of them says that you're giving the doctor the right to bill your insurance company, which by definition means the doctor has to disclose the health information about you, which is you saw the doctor. That's fine. But what you may not realize is you're giving it away in many other ways every day. And that is, if you've signed up for those tracker apps, like the ones that measure your steps or measure your sleep or your menstrual cycle, all of those come with the terms of use that say you give those apps the right to track and use and aggregate and even share that data with their partners, some of whom you'll see want to sell you stuff, like why when you sign up for a step counting app, suddenly you're bombarded with commercials for sneakers or socks. And that is somewhat benign, but what you also don't realize is that that information can be subpoenaed. It's no longer protected from disclosure necessarily. So there are criminal cases where the data that was tracked on someone's tracking app has been used in criminal cases. And beyond that, when a company like an app like that or other medical company that has personal medical information that you've given approval to use or disclose goes out of business, like happened recently with 23andMe, what happens to your data? Well, in the case of 23andMe, it's getting sold to the highest bidder. Why do I bring this up now? Because OpenAI, the artificial intelligence company that made ChatGPT, has announced that it's starting ChatGPT Health, which is not meant as a substitute for a doctor, but uses a large language model, which means you can talk to this particular program as if it were a human, and it will answer you on questions about health. So if you are putting in your information like, I was just diagnosed with night blindness, maybe I shouldn't drive, what do you think? And then you get into an accident because you were driving at night, guess who can subpoena those records? Yeah, the police, the people who are suing you. So that is something to consider, because once you've given permission to track, to use your information, then you have basically given up your protections under HIPAA. And that's not something that OpenAI has talked about. They have talked about their data privacy, their security. They have said they don't use your queries to train their large language models, but they have been noticeably silent about HIPAA. And that's because you are giving them permission. Before you go and do that, maybe think about whether it's worth it for you. Maybe talk to a real doctor who is required by HIPAA to maintain your privacy. And maybe if you have questions about privacy, talk to a real lawyer before you go hooking up your apps or tracking your data or giving the information.